It is the Fantasy Golf Degenerates show for this week's Open, aka the Texas Children's Houston Open. And as always, I'm brought to you by my charismatic, celebrity type infused individual over here, Kenny Kim, on the Dan on Golf show. What's up, Kenny?
Yeah, that's probably one of the bigger shows that I've been on. Yeah, it was fun being on the show. If you guys go check it out, I was on with Dan Rappaport earlier today on his show, Dan on Golf. Go to YouTube, whatever. You could find it on there. It was crazy because I was actually on the show with Victor Hovland, Brandel Chambly, Alan Shipnuck, Bud Cauley, Rick Gaiman, and me. I definitely didn't belong. Definitely didn't belong.
But Kenny,
probably
the information you provided was the guys preceding you would never have provided the information that you provided.
Well, it was all about the strip clubs in different areas. And the funny thing is, one thing that I've sort of wanted to think about doing was, how Portnoy, Dan used to work for Barstool. You know how Portnoy does the pizza, the one bite,
everyone knows the rules.
One bite. I'm thinking of making that into a strip club thing. Go to the strip club.
The one dance review.
The one dance review. The one dance review. Go in there, knock it out, come back out. Tell them about what happened at the strip club. Funny enough,
one dance. Nobody knows the rules.
It's funny. I didn't get kicked off the show this time. The last time I was in a show, I used to be on a radio show for a network in Chicago, and they had their show would be broadcast all around the United States, and it was actually the day Kobe died, when I was supposed to be on, and I got bumped off the show for Kendrick Perkins, so Kendrick Perkins could talk about Kobe's death.
Who's Kendrick?
Okay, he's a basketball player.
Oh, okay.
NBA basketball player. So yeah, it was good being on the show, but enough about me. Let's talk about this past week. Let's talk about the Valspar Championship. I thoroughly enjoyed this tournament so much. That Sunday back nine was a joy to watch. You had the two main dogs out there, JT and Hovland, going out there and duking it out, and JT looked unstoppable. Until he got to the snake pit, and snake pit has done that to countless people over the years and ruined their days. And then Hovland with the big putt on 14, the two crazy approaches on 16 and 17, and then being able to save the bogey on 18. Really was not expecting that. On our YouTube comments, where make sure you go to our YouTube page. Go to the comment section each and every week. Pick the winner. And if you pick the correct winner, Byron will get you 1 free month of his Patreon. This past week there was no winner, and it was Victor Hovland, a former number 3 player in the world, 7-time PGA Tour winner. Now you figure, honestly, I didn't know if this was going to happen again, because the guy is so Looney Tunes in the head, right? He's so Looney Tunes in the head. And changing everything from his best season ever in 2023, where he won the FedEx Cup Championship, and to go into this 2-year lull. Brandel Chambly actually talked about this on the show with Dan, and it made a lot of sense. What he lost was time. This is the same thing Tiger did. When Tiger in 2004, when he just won the Players and the Tiger Slam, decided to change his swing. Why? No idea. And it took Tiger a couple of years to get back on track. Even Tiger, it took him that long. Yeah. And it's not shocking that it's taken Hovland this long. And, Brandel was talking about how Tiger probably would have gotten 20 majors. He probably would have gotten 100 wins if he didn't fuck around with his swing 3 different times. And it took him over a year each time to come back and be the Tiger that we thought he would. You know what I'm saying? And that's 5 years of his career where he could have been just doing the same thing and whooping everyone's ass. And it's the same thing with Hovland. To do what he did in 2023 after the best season. I mean, there's only 3 golfers on the PGA Tour with more victories than Victor Hovland since 2019. Scheffler, Rory, Rahm. That's it. Scheffler, Rory, Rahm, and then it's Hovland. who has the 4th most wins on the PGA Tour since 2019. And he did what he did to change. This is going to be a problem for him throughout his career. I don't trust him at all, even after this win. Because what he said was after the win was he doesn't know how it happened. Like, he's been playing like shit. Like, he did not think this was going to happen coming into this event. Had zero confidence in his game. And to go out there and do what he did first, it tells you how skilled he is. Like to not feel any confidence in your game. I don't think I've ever heard a winning golfer say that. Like, I've heard them say, like, okay, 6 months ago I was struggling, but I've picked myself back up and I've had a couple of good performances before my victory. Not Victor. Victor's 3 straight miscuts, right? Heading into this event, swing is lost, and he goes out there and does what he did. First off, it's incredibly impressive. Secondly, it makes me not trust him at all. I can't bet him the next time he comes out. I'm not going to bet him because he's telling me that his swing is shit, and he basically was luck boxed into the win, right? I mean, like, incredible moment for Victor, and hopefully it does get him back on track. Maybe this is exactly what he needs, and it turns everything around, and it leads to him getting back up into the stratosphere where he needs to be as a pro. But I don't trust him.
I wonder, Kenny, because he went and won so many events in a row, like towards the end of that 2023 season, was it? And Max Homa as well. They have like exemption until 2028, which I think can play a big role in this. Is if you have enough years to work on something, you've bought yourself exemptions and eligibility to play on this tour for so long, you can now, okay, I can do this with a stress-free 2 years. I can work on this thing, and in the long run, hopefully this pays off. It is a massive decision to do this kind of stuff,
But the thing is, like, a golfer's time on tour is so limited, right? And like to make changes like that when you're on the top of your game,
when you are winning golf tournaments,
it doesn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to me when Tiger did it. It doesn't make sense to me when Hovland does it.
We're sitting on our couches, Kenny.
Of course,
like speaking about this stuff. The reason we're not there is because we, for the most part, semi-sane.
I suck at golf. That's one reason I'm not there.
Yeah, but you might suck at golf because you don't have the brain stuff going on. Like, these guys are wired so differently to us. Like he said it in his presser. If I wasn't the way I am now, I wouldn't be playing on tour. The reason I'm having struggles right now is also the reason why I'm on the PGA. So sometimes your vice can be your verse, and that's basically what he's kind of admitting to. And the fact that he didn't know he was going to win a golf tournament is just the craziest thing, dude. Like, he had gained 0, not once this year has he gained strokes putting. Not once. Yeah. And he was top 3 in putting this week.
He was walking putts in like Arnold Palmer with like the pivot, the shoulder lean, and then the raising of the club. It looked like fucking Chichi Rodriguez out there. Like, the thing that was missing was the sword play. Like, afterwards, like, it was crazy. The amount of putts that he was fucking making out there. Super impressive. JT, like I said, I expect JT to win very, very soon. I didn't think it was going to happen yesterday, but he almost proved me wrong because I said he makes too many mistakes at inopportune times. Like, what we've seen from Rory is the Scotty mode, right? Where he's playing more conservatively, playing smarter, playing the course. JT probably shouldn't have hit driver on 16 and 18. He probably should not have hit driver on those holes. Should have played it smarter, play for the par. You know what I'm saying? Instead of being aggressive, and it cost him. But
he was also feeling himself, though. Like he was feeling.
He was. But sometimes you got to get talked out of that. You got to play smart. And I think he's going to win soon. Like I said last week, I think the next 20 under event, he's going to win because it's less opportunity for mistakes like that. A mistake there is a bogey. is a par on courses like that, right? Parring a par 5 or something like that. It's not going to kill you, right? But like bogeys and doubles are going to destroy you when you're up close to the lead. That's what we saw from 116 and 18. All credit to Hovland. Go ahead.
Did he win? Did Victor win the tournament, or did JT lose the tournament?
Victor won. Because Copperhead's a tough course. Snake Pit is the hardest 3-hole stretch like on tour. Like, it's not surprising that he did what he did. I mean, like, it's not surprising. And not because he's a choke artist, it's because of the difficulty of those holes. And I think,
but don't you think like the timing
no,
of when
I
he
think
decided to play
Hovland
badly?
won it. Hovland went 1 under on the Snake Pit with a bogey on the last, or 1 under, or he went 1 under on the Snake Pit. I mean, that's a win. Yeah, that's a win. Yeah. He beat JT. Like 1 over, JT was 2 over. Like 1 over would have been enough to make it to a playoff, right? I mean, that's how hard that 3-hole stretch plays. I don't think it was a choke job. I think it was just Hovland coming out and winning. Now, did he feel the pressure? Maybe, probably.
It's a combo. I would say. I do think Victor, obviously, to play those holes the way he did, holy shit, dude! He birdied that par 5 from a decent length with the putt. He was not gonna make he was out of that hole for a bit. Hovland, yeah,
and then, was like a 12-footer.
Yeah, on the par 5, and then he goes and what a seed on that 17th hole. Yeah, Jesus, dude.
Yeah, it was like, and he was saying that like he had no idea where the ball was going off the club. Yeah. Like, what? What do you mean? I don't understand.
He reminds me of the guy from Mr. Deed's Crazy Eyes, like Oreos and gumballs. Like he just sees the moose like in the background, and it's not a moose. It's all sorts of crazy stuff. Like that's what I think Victor sees golf as right now. Like his eyes are crossed, and it just doesn't make sense to him. But he's so goddamn talented. It's just happening.
Like one thing is he did go back to his OG putter. Like he switched putters every week for the last 5 events.
Yes.
Like he hasn't used the same putter like in 5 straight events. Went back to the OG, and that thing finally worked. A couple of other guys. Bridgman really impressed me.
Before we go, Kenny, I want to ask you about JT quickly. Since 2022, how many rounds has Justin Thomas had the lead after? So like after a round, you're in the lead or co-leading since 2022. So that's 3 and a bit years.
I don't know, 5, 6.
3. The Farmers Insurance in 2022, the PGA Championship round 4, he obviously won it. So like that was the only time that happened. And then going into, he was leader after Genesis Scottish Open.
See, the thing is, I'm not worried about JT because he knows how to win. It's happened. He went through the career. He has what, 15 wins, 17 wins, something like that. I mean, the guy knows how to win. Okay. Yeah. His game has not been where it was at the time when he was winning all those events. Now it seems like it's getting closer and closer to where he was when he was like the #1 player in the world. Right. And so what comes after that, after you're getting your game, is the killer instinct. Because if you haven't been in that situation that many times, I mean, you said 3 times it's in the last 3 years. That's not that much. That tells me he's playing bad golf. That's not telling me that he's choking away shit. That's telling me he has not been playing the level that he normally plays. Okay. And so now that he's getting to where he needs to be, that muscle memory should be easier to click back on when it comes down to crunch time. I'm not worried about him. Like I'm worried about like Morikawa or other guys like that who don't have the resume that JT had, right? And so I'm not worried about that. I don't think this was a choke. I think he's going to win soon. I think he's going to win.
Not even a little bit, Kenny. Not even a small choke.
No, I don't think so.
Like when you're balling out like that, you can't play the snake pit 2 over par, man.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it was just a mental mistake for him pulling out the driver. I think he goes out there and clubs it down, and I think he was too hype at that point. I think you're correct about that. But it was not the smart move. He played the course wrong. And it's the first time he's been in contention since the PGA Championship, 2 years, right? That really had a chance to win. I mean, like Winning's hard. You gotta get that memory back, get that muscle memory back of what you needed to do when you were winning all these events. And if you're already struggling with your game and you're working on the game to get to the level you were, that's not going to be a part of your process. Trying to, the mental aspect of winning a tournament down the stretch. That's the farthest thing from your mind, right? You're trying to just get your game back to where it needs to be. And it seems like it's getting there. The next step is going to be him, in contention more often. And we'll see if he does it 2, 3, 4 more times, then we talk. Right. But this one, I'm not worried about it. I think he's going to win the next event he plays. That's going to be a birdie fest. So I'm going to bet him.
I was going to say that's going to be the Masters. So you're just going to say that?
No.
Then you said birdie fest. Okay.
Birdie fest.
I'm with you now.
Now, one thing I was really impressed with was Jacob Bridgman, because that boy, like, once Hovland in the back nine, once Hovland and JT sort of started getting up there, everyone else sort of stalled out, right? Except Bridgman. Like, that bogey on 17, on 16 or 17 really hurt him. Like, he had a chance, because like, he was striping irons. Like, he was out there confident. Like, he was like, you could see it. And that's why you need to watch golf, right? Because like, you could see it in his body, his body posture, his attitude. You could visually see it, like him exuding confidence, like on the screen on my TV. And it was really impressive. Like, those iron shots he made on the last few holes were flushed. He missed a shorty. He missed that bogey. Really surprised at how he came through and, got that third place.
Of Cam Smith, like, has no business, because the ball striking was there to a degree, but what was keeping him in the mix was putting and chipping. Like, he's around the green numbers are pretty high, but he putted in a lot of balls from off the fringe. Like, and when because there's people like JT that when you get on the green, unless you're feeling it like he did, you're likely going to make your bogey if you've messed up the hole. But with Bridgman, he's always in the hole, man. Like, he can be off the green and still in it because he's just so fucking good at chipping and putting, man. He was incredible. And on Sundays, things get wonky and you can start getting tense. And we've spoken about how putting is binary, miss off by 10 degrees here, whatever. You had that 3-putt from like 4 or 5 feet. That was the only kind of situation that he found himself in. The rest of the time, he was nails, man. Absolutely nails. So props to him. He's to rely on a skill set like that under pressure is impressive as heck. So
there was a lot of stuff that happened during the event. I mean, like, I would say that Billy Horschel shot. Like, I've never in my life have seen. I've watched a lot of golf, lot of golf. I've never seen anything like that. Like, a guy like fighting like near the top of the leaderboard, hitting a left-handed shot,
120 yards.
Like, 120 yards. It wasn't like a chip out. Like, he hit that, like, flew it in the air. It had a cut in it. Like, it was crazy. Like, it had ball shape in the flight. And then he made the birdie putt. That's when I thought I had a chance, because I bet him live 40-1 on Saturday night. And I do have to tell about this one little tidbit. So I was talking to my boy Ellie Landau. He's a Tony Award nominated writer. He's been a fan of the show for years, right? Great friend. He's hooked me up with some tickets sometimes. I will say I went to the Broadway at 50 concert at the Kennedy Center. One of the hottest tickets in town. It was 2 nights only. They had my favorite tenor was there. Alfie Boe was supposed to be there. He bailed. Anyways, Alfie Boe is my favorite tenor. He was Jean Valjean in the 25th anniversary special of Les Mis at Royal Albert Hall. And so tickets were sold out. There was no way I can get in. I hit up Ellie, and he was like, I got you. I guess he has hookups at the Kennedy Center. Got me something like 12 rows back. Like, from the orchestra. It was the best seats I ever had in my life, and it was a sold out show. So shout out, Ellie. Thank you. You are the man. I am sorry that JT lost. He had 110-1 live ticket for JT, so I know he was feeling the pain. But what he told me was that when you live bet, and I guess I should have known this. This is not like new things, but I just never thought of it. When you make a live bet, instead of doing the each way, you should make the live bet twice. And why you do that is because of cash outs, right? Because you get a guy who, at one point, I think Billy was like close to the lead, 8th or 9th, and I bet $40 on him, and the cash out was like $180, right? Right. And so, or it was something, maybe it was more, but maybe it was less. I don't remember. But like when that happens, if you have 2 bets, you could just cash out the number, make your money back, you know what I'm saying? And then let the other one ride. I thought that was a really, really good idea. Like, I don't know why I don't know why I haven't thought of that. Because it just makes so much sense. Instead of doing like the 1 to 3, the 3 places each way or something that they give you on a live, bet, just bet that same number twice. And that's such a great idea for live betting. And I'm sure it's been told and people know about this, but I didn't. So
I haven't thought of it ever in my life.
Yeah, it's new to me. So that's the way I'm going to be doing live betting now. So shout out Ellie. But that shot by Hovland was sick. I did hit the Riley.
Yeah.
Horschel. Yeah. I did hit the Riley each way, which is very nice. It made my money back for the week, so I didn't lose my shit. So that was, I think that's each way number 8 on the season. I do need some outrights, and I think this is the week. I think this is the week where it happens. Couple of other things. Did you see Hisatune? His putting routine?
Hisatune?
Hisatune, yeah. Okay. So this guy, before every putt, sucks on a sip of water, keeps the water in his mouth until he putts, and then drinks it. I don't know if it's mental or if he's doing like liquid aim point. Because like aim point, when you go and you walk up to the hole and you use your feet to like judge the slope of the green, right? Maybe he's using the water and just stand straight. And like, if the water shifts this way, then the putt's moving left to right. If the water shifts this way in his mouth, then the putt's moving right to left. I don't know what he's doing, but what I really, really want him to fucking do is make a bomb and then do the Triple H and just spit that shit in the fucking air with his arms out. If he ever wins a fucking event, he better goddamn do that, because that would be the most amazing thing I've ever seen in golf for this guy. If he just went out there and just straight Triple H, spit the water out, and just to win an event. If he ever makes a putt to win an event, I need him to do it. And this guy is talented. He could definitely win. DP Tour Rookie of the Year, last year. So this guy's not a fucking schlub. He can go out there. This past week was not, a fluke. He's good. I have to see his ass do the Triple H and then pedigree his opponent on the green.
Can you pick one guy? Who's the guy that you wish he's playing with to pedigree?
That he could pedigree? I don't know. Yeah. Bobby Mack. I don't know. I just don't like Bobby Mack.
Just strap a kilt on and do the pedigree with the kilt.
Yeah, he could be like he was doing with the Roddy Piper, right? The whole Scottish theme, right? Or maybe like Bo Hostler, because when his face lands on the ground, maybe it would look prettier. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that shit would look better if it gets that pedigree smashed onto the ground. I don't know. It'll probably be one of those two guys.
Xander Schauffele had his career best week on approach this week. Didn't finish inside the top 10. So
like I said, he was 5% owned in cash. I missed out on cash. I've been on the right end of some close calls a couple of times in the last month. This one I lost by like 6 to 10 points. So I was on, and the thing is, like, so I was on the wrong end of that. But the one thing that did keep me alive was Xander, who was 5% owned. So he was in my cash lineup. I had to switch everything up because of the weather change. So hopefully you guys listening or watching follow me on X. Now, both of them were garbage. My Cascade Cornerstones on the show were not great. I had 2 missed cuts. And then the new Cascade Cornerstones with the so-called weather wave advantage, I had 2 missed cuts there too. So it wasn't the best week. The Hustler Play of the Week, McGreevy, was okay. But then, of course, I switched that also because of the weather on X, and I went with Højgaard, and that did not turn out well. So not the best week, but thank God for Davis Riley to at least get me my betting money back on the outright. How did you do? Anything? I know you had Riley, but did you have?
Yeah, I broke even. I bet Hisatune going. Hell yeah, dude.
Yes, fucking breaking even's great. Like,
let's go.
You got to take this in levels.
Yes.
Take it in steps. It's not like you're going to get everything back all at once, right? You grab on to the little successes you have, right? And then you build on that. And you do that on everything, not just gambling, in life, right? Those little small successes that you have in life, cherish those things. Use those things as a springboard to bigger things in the future. Anyways, that's my TED Talk for the day.
Katie. I love that.
But I mean, that's how you need to approach it when you're on a losing streak, when you're on, a slump, when life isn't going 100% your way, right? What you need to do is there's going to be instances during the day, during the week that make you happy, certain small wins, and cherish those wins. Take those wins and build on those wins. And think about those wins more than the losses. I know that's a lot. It's very, very hard to do when we're in the industry we're in. And I know people say that, we're not results oriented. That's fucking bullshit. Okay. I mean, we're trying to fucking win bets. Of course we're results oriented. Okay. And the people who say, oh, we're not results oriented, they're probably losing all the fucking time like I am. Right. I mean, look, we want the results. We want to win. But to get to that point, sometimes it's going to be tough, and you're going to have trials and tribulations and downward swings and, stuff that's going to piss you off. Pockgeiter, fucking Brian Campbell. I'll punch him in the face right now if I see him. But you get those small wins, break even this week, build on it. Build on small wins in your life, improve your life in the future. I see that for you, Byron. I see it coming.
Thank you. Yes, baby. And I will give you one more thing. The reason I broke even was because I had the outright side of things. That was a whole unit and a fraction that I lost. If I just took my placements, the bread and butter stuff, that's my jam, I profited. I had 2 units riding on Tommy Fleetwood for a top 20. Dude, he came in clutch down the stretch. Like, he backdoored the shit out of that top 20. Hard. Seb Straka was the guy that offset that by 1 unit, who also, he played like his C game this week and finished T28, so we could have almost had a big week in the placement side of things. Those were my only 2 bets I placed. So slowing it down a bit seemed to work. And Tommy Fleetwood was minus 150 and minus 125. Both those bets.
Like tightening up, your bets, or tightening up the way you play DFS sometimes can really, really help, because it's helped me in DFS. Only making the 3 lineups, right? What it's done for me is it's made me like super hyper focused on who I'm picking, right? When you're making 150 lineups, you're just clicking like, okay, this guy has a chance, click. Okay, this guy has a chance, click. Okay, yeah, maybe this guy. All right, I'll give it to him. Right? To get your 30 or 40 person player pool for your 150 lineups, right? And so it's a lot more just clicking buttons than actually sitting there and focusing and really thinking about like what this course needs, what this course has to have from a player for the player to be successful. And tightening up everything really focuses your mind on stuff like that. And I've noticed that in DFS. And I feel like in the 5 or 6 weeks that I've been doing this, that I've become a better DFS player. And so, yeah. So good for you. I'm happy for you.
In golf, you're aiming at a truck, you're aiming wrong. You got to aim at the truck's wheel. You got to aim at the house's window. You got to, hyper focus that
Yeah.
shit on everything in your
And
life.
also
You know,
switching
because
things up sometimes is always helpful. I'll tell you this week.
Yeah.
I played golf this week. My ball striking this year is the best it's ever been in my life. I made some swing tweaks. I've realized that I was a rocker. Like when I go back, that I rock back with my hips instead of keeping my hips, level and then twisting, instead of twisting. And so that one change, I've been striking the ball so well, especially off the tee, especially my irons have been really, really strong. My long irons, which is, I like last year, I think I hit my 5-iron like once, right? Because I was so scared to use it. And my 4-iron, now I feel comfortable. You just make those small little tweaks. And what happened this week I shot 85 on Sunday, my best round of the year, one of my better rounds in the last 5 years. And on the front, I shot 45. I couldn't make a putt, and my putting has just been absolutely horrendous. It's the worst it's ever been. And so on the back 9, I was like, fuck it. What's up with this claw grip? Let me try this claw grip out. Draining everything, bro. It was sick. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, the claw. I was like the Minions. Like those aliens from Toy Story.
from Toy
right?
Story.
I was like,
The
the
claw.
claw. Right? I was like, oh, this shit was fucking working. I was draining shit, making all the 5 footers. Like all
Let's
the
go. 5 footers. Let's go, dude.
Like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, the first hole I tried it on the 10th hole, right? I hit like a 40-foot bomb for birdie. I was like, first time I ever tried using the claw. Like,
That's incredible.
grip on the golf course. Made a 40-foot birdie on 10 at Herndon. It was sick. So sometimes just, a small change here and there can really, really change things. But I think we're going off a little bit of topic. Do you want to add anything else? I have one more thing to talk about.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so let's talk about how fucking batshit crazy golfers were this week. Like, I've never seen shit.
The Rages.
I've never seen shit like this before. Like from so many fucking players. It all started off with Keith Mitchell, right? Oh no, Patton Kizzire. Patton Kizzire misses the putt on the first hole, like his 3rd hole of the day. Like, it wasn't even like he'd been missing putts all day. It was like early in the round. He takes his putter, punts it, breaks it, has to chip with his wedge. And this is a guy. This is a guy. He won less than 10 starts ago.
Yeah.
It's not like this guy's been playing like ass forever. He won like 10 starts in the fall. He won. And he's out there going fucking Looney Tunes. I'm like, okay, it's a tough course. That can happen. Well, then later on, Sahith. I don't really see Sahith as like a really angry type of guy. He seems jovial, like, you know what I'm saying? Like a happy-go-lucky, especially being raised by his dad, who's like the happiest of go-luckiest motherfuckers out there, right? And he does the club drop. Like, he doesn't just swing the club.
Yeah.
Like, he dropped his club, like released it after the swing. Like, he pushed it right. Released it after the swing. Picked the club back up. And then threw the motherfucker.
Yeah.
And then threw the motherfucker. I was like, what is going on this week? And then I was like, the next thing was Justin Lower. Like, one of, like, you don't think of Justin Lower as a hothead. Like, nice guy, small, quiet, out there. Snaps his club in half with his foot after a bunker shot. He puts his club on the ground and just stomps on the bitch halfway through. I'm like, what is happening this week? And then the fucking grand
best
finale.
one. Yeah.
The motherfucking grand fucking finale. Okay, Adam Hadwin, who's had 2 of the craziest things ever in golf history happened to him on the golf course in the last 2 years, right? This guy hits a sprinkler head busts, and water just starts spraying fucking everywhere. This guy, if it was me, I would have just walked away. I would have been like, but whatever. The maintenance guys will fix it. He's Canadian.
Yeah.
Nice guy. So the first thing he does is turns around and says, sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know. I can't do a Canadian accent. Someone do a Canadian accent.
sorry.
He's like, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Hey, I'm sorry, eh?
He's like, I'm sorry. And then tries stomping on the sprinkler head to get it to stop fucking spraying the water everywhere. That's batshit crazy. I've never seen anything like that. And for that to happen to him 2 years after this motherfucker gets tackled on the fucking green.
Holding a
Like
bottle of
two of-
champagne, like
Yeah,
water,
two
like
of the
champagne.
craziest things on the golf course that didn't have to do with like actual playing of golf has happened to Adam Hadwin on the last 2 weeks. I have my own takes on why this happens, but why do you think this happened, Byron, this past week?
I mean, this is the final event of the Florida Swing. There's people, most of these guys that lost their shit, apart from maybe Sahith, aren't in the Masters maybe as well. I think everyone's trying to get into the Masters right now. And the Florida Swing will kick your dick in. Like, you got to be on top of your game. If you're off by a little bit, you're in the water. So the last event of the Florida Swing, that's 4 straight or so that you've had to deal with. It's just enough is enough, man. That's the straw that broke the camel's back. Adam Hadwin there with the hydraulic Heisman pose was incredible.
I thought the funniest thing was him turning around and apologizing.
Yeah.
Like, that is so fucking
so Canadian. So Canadian.
Like, so Canadian. It was amazing. Like, the whole scene was fucking incredible. Whoever took that video, shout out to you, because you know they weren't going to show that on the coverage, right? And the PGA Tour can't DMCA that shit because they didn't record it. It was some guy, and it was a Oh, last one more thing. We forgot about Spieth. Spieth. I saw a video of Spieth. Right, he was had a flop shot right by the stands. Kids all around. Right, he goes under the ball, looks at the spot, flexes, and yells "fuck" as loud as he fucking possibly. Kids like here, like 2-year-old, 3-year-old, like all around. People were going fucking crazy. And here's the thing. I think you're right. It's because of the difficulty of the course and having to play all these hard-ass courses back to back to back to back, gotten these months. Now, here's what I'm thinking. Is this really the reason why the PGA Tour sets up courses easy? Like, think about it.
Yeah.
Like, could this be the reason why? Because they, like Cantley said, pampered fucks, right? These guys, you know, it was funny, right? It was funny, but honestly, it's not the best look, right? It's not the best look for the PGA Tour.
But it's relatable, though. It's so
it's
relatable.
100% relatable, but it's not what they want to show, right? It's not what the PGA Tour at least wants to show. And I think the reason why it seems to me that they set up courses easy like this is so they don't get this half a dozen or a dozen of these instances every week. Because if this happened every week, like 6 to 10 times a week, it would be a pretty big story. Yeah. I would say about how golfers are just losing their fucking minds.
But it's awesome. I freaking love it.
I love it. I love it. I think it's great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think that is one of the reasons why the PGA Tour sets up these courses so easy. So shit like that doesn't happen. They want to avoid the bad look. Even though, in all honesty, I don't think it would be a bad look. I think it would be a relatable look, like you said.
Yeah. I started a thread of when Sahith did his no, it was early when the putter punt came with Patton. I started a thread of people losing their shit on the golf course, professionals raging. Before Hadwin had the sprinkler incident, I put in a snippet there of the players on hole 18. He hit his ball and then just took his club and just full on swung it left into the water on the left-hand side. Just flung it like into the water, man. So this guy is just, he loses his stuff hard. And if you are not following Jessica Hadwin on X, it's his wife. She's freaking hilarious, man.
She's hilarious.
She like puts everything that happens with him into like a normal person's perspective, and it's freaking funny as shit. So
one more thing that maybe why the PGA Tour sets the courses so easy is because I think in situations like this, we saw like a small little glimpse of it, not to the full extent. This past week with Hovland and JT sort of running away with it. But like, I think, when it comes down to it, the harder the course, the more likelihood that one or two guys could just one could really step away from the field, right? You've seen it in majors often, like the Kuchar Phil or the Kuchar Spieth, the Stenson
Mickelson.
Mickelson, right? There's been instances where it's been like a couple of guys, and it usually happens on really, really difficult type courses. I'm just spitballing here, but after what I saw this week, I think that part of the reason that the PGA Tour sets up these courses this easy is because these guys can't handle it. These guys mentally cannot handle.
You can't handle the
difficult courses week in and week out. They need breaks, and it sounds like they're being pussies, and that's what it sounds like. But I mean, like, I don't know. I've played golf, and I wanted to fucking shoot myself in the head after a round.
That looks like Patton's putter, but not as bad. So, like, when I put my 5-iron down, the toe is like an extra couple millimeters above the ground because I punted that thing down a fairway one time, and it's like bent to shit now. So, but I do not. I have a rule. If I break a club, it takes a full year for me to replace it in my bag. So I have a sandwich just making a re-entry into the bag this year. Very excited. It was my favorite club. I spiked it into the ground and then snapped it, pulling it out of the mud. So
yeah. See, the thing is, I know I suck balls, so I don't get that angry. The only time I really get pissed is putting. Like I suck so bad at putting. It's horrible.
We're gonna get together sometime, Kenny, and we're gonna putt some stuff.
It sucks.
Okay, let's get into some stuff. Yeah, kickback golf, or do what? Yeah, we just go straight into it. We don't even have an ad.
No. Let's do our course preview first, and we do have a new sponsor coming on board next week. It will be exciting times. This is really interesting stuff. This sponsor and what their site does. Just think of the exchange in Europe. That's all I'll say. Think of the exchange across the pond. But and it's coming to America. It's going to be some fun stuff. So stay tuned for some cool stuff starting next week. But let's go in and let's talk about this week. Let's talk about the Houston Open. So the PGA Tour heads to Houston, Texas for the Texas Children's Open. From Memorial Park Golf Course. This course has only been in play for, I think this is 4 years. I think this will be the 5th year that it's in play now. Here's the thing. The first 3 years, this was played in the fall. In the fall, it's pure Bermuda, no overseed. Okay. Last year was the first year it played in the spring. Okay. And I think it makes a pretty big difference. First off, the overseed, I think, tends to make, at what we've seen, especially, in the last month, some like the cognizant, it could make courses play easier. It's a lot easier to chip off that type of Bermuda. It's a lot easier to hit out of the rough in that type of Bermuda with the POA Trivialis overseed. So just some numbers. The first 3 years of this event, only 7 golfers finished double-digit under par. Last year, mind you, conditions were really firm, okay? Really firm, and the wind was 20 plus miles per hour every day. 10 golfers finished double-digit under par last year. More than the 3 previous years combined in the fall. This course is hard. It's going to play hard. But you add in the fact that the weather this year, it's going to be soft. They had a deluge today. It's supposed to rain Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The course is going to play soft, okay? Because of that, I expect scoring to be the best it's ever been on this course, ever, in the 5 years. I'm thinking we see high teens in winning, and I think we see 15 to 20 golfers double-digit under par. Now, I don't think that changes too much on the whole strategy aspect of what we're looking for this week, but it's just something to keep in mind when it comes down to it, like for the week. The course was designed by John Bredemus. He did some work in the design of Colonial Country Club, redesigned by Tom Doak. There are no PGA Tour events that are Tom Doak courses, but he used to be an intern for Pete Dye. There's some influence there. I mean, like courses, like I know last year was the first year that it was in the spring. The leaderboard for the most part looked like Torrey and looked like Mexico from that year's leaderboard. Looked like Torrey, looked like Mexico to me. So I think those are a couple that you can look at this season, both long iron heavy, both driver heavy. Are a couple of things that you can look at, right? I think Cognizant is another one, another lengthy, long, difficult par 70. And I think we could see something like we saw this year at the Cognizant, where it plays a lot easier than when people thought. Very, very similar. I think it's another one that you can look back on for the leaderboard this past year.
And even last week.
Now, yeah. Now, the 2020, the course played tough. The winning score was -13. Ortiz took it down. 2021, -10. The median score was +1. And a lot of top golfers were at the top of the leaderboard both these years, like Decky, DJ, Koepka, Scheffler, Burns, Cam Smith, Sungjae, right? Finau ran away with it at -17 in 2022, but only one other golfer finished double digit under par. Okay? Hold on, I just lost my place. It's only 3 years, and it was a fall, spring. Hold on, I'm trying to get back to my place. Sorry, I have a hard time sometimes looking up at the camera and then looking back down at what I'm supposed to read. Now the winning score last year was -12, but again, 10 golfers shot double digit under par. The overseed and wind change of the spring looked to make it much easier. A touch easier than previous years. Throw in the fact that Houston's going to see a fair amount of rain this week. Like I said, scoring could be very, very good. Now, Memorial Park Golf Course, 7,450 plus yard, par 70, 3 par 5s, 5 par 3s. 2 of the par 5s should be reachable by all golfers in 2. The par 5 8th hole is a mammoth 630, 650 yards and should play as a 3-shot hole for most. 3 of the par 3s range from 200 to 235, and the last 2 are much shorter, ranging from 155 to 167. When it comes to the par 4s, 2 play fairly short, with yardages right at or just below 400 yards, with 1 being drivable. 3 par 4s range from 440 to 455, and 5 are very long, playing, I'd say, where am I? Over 490 yards. Now, looking at this configuration, you're going to see a fair amount of shots from over 200 yards and from 175 to 200 every round. Off the tee, golfers are going to see tree-lined fairways that have been widened a bit by Tom Doak. The trees aren't too bunched like they are at Colonial, and golfers will have outs most of the time when they miss wildly into the trees. Again, soft conditions. And another thing, the rough is a lot lower last year. Last year, the rough was about 1.5. They're trying to Augustify the greens, so they bring bigger names to come in here and prep before the Masters. And so what we saw last year was the lowest rough that they've ever had. It was about 1.5 inches. Now, and then when you look at the numbers, it was the easiest proximity from the rough on any course on tour. So what this is screaming to me, okay? You either want to be long or you want to be really good with your long irons, or both. And if you're good with your long irons and you're not long, you probably want to have a pretty good short game. I think those are the big 3 things that you're looking at. If your golfer's not long, I didn't mean to do that. But if your golfers aren't long, did it again. And then if your golfers if your golfers aren't long, you need them to have a good long iron game, right? Or a good short game. You need some type of combination of those 3 things, I think, this week to really succeed. There are only 19 bunkers on the course and only 2 water hazards. So, literally, it's bombs away. The greens on approaches, golfers are going to see above average size Bermuda grass greens overseeded with Poa trivialis. They use the mini Verde Bermuda with the overseed that is similar to Eastlake. The greens may be slightly larger when it comes to square footage, but many are crowned. You see a lot of crowned edges, again, Augusta-like, right? And depending on the pin locations and landing areas, to have a good birdie chance are pretty small. So, you're going to see mown off areas. You can see some Texas wedges here. You're going to see a lot of short game from thin lines instead of thick rough. That's what you're going to see on a course like this. What are you looking for on golfers this week?
I'm just going to expand a little bit on what you were mentioning there with the changing conditions. Kenny, I sent Mike a screenshot to put up here for us, and it's missed fairway penalty. So tour average is 36%, which is, whatever, take that. The higher the percentage, the worse the penalty is. In 2021, it was 35%. Yeah. 27% in 2022, 29% in 2023. Last year, 19%. So whatever that means, it was just way easier to kind of get out of the fairway onto the green. So by a decent chunk, like 10% more. And it's got a lot to do with the fact that drives were going 12 yards on average further because of the hardness maybe, and maybe people weren't trying to hit as many fairways. They're just trying to pound it out there because they know the rough isn't as penal, right? So it could be a combination of both things there. So bombers engage, baby. 2/3 of shots coming from 150 and out, absolutely. And if you look at the strokes gained around the green correlations here, it's massive. Every single year, it's more important than tour average by a long way. So chipping and putting, big time. And if you can find, one elite skill set in the ball striking area there, like you mentioned, we are looking Gucci. That's it for me for the course preview, yeah.
So let's get to it. Let's go to our kickbackgolf.com betting segment. Go to kickbackgolf.com. Use promo code FGD15. They got all the cool baseball jerseys, basketball jerseys of your favorite golfers. Most of them from their alma mater. I think one of my favorites is the Dustin Johnson Coastal Carolina baseball jersey. One of my favorites. You can also get a Scotty Scheffler Texas jersey, Jordan Spieth Texas jersey, all those cool things. So make sure you go to kickbackgolf.com, use promo code FGD15, get yourself a cool little jersey. Byron, you want me to start, or are you going to go this week?
You go ahead, because I don't think actually you're going to have the guy I'm asking for some guidance on, but go ahead, give me your card, and then I'm going to ask you some stuff here after this.
Okay, first bet, really easy. I'm going to go Rory McIlroy 7-1 win.
Okay.
Only. Was that your guy?
Go. That's what I want to ask you about. Okay,
that's
cool.
Your
Let's
guy.
Go.
Okay, so Rory's going to be my guy. Here's the thing. Back in the day, there used to be a narrative about Rory where he could only win on long, soft courses, right? And that's sort of been thrown by the wayside probably ever since his 2019 Players victory, and especially after his win at the Players a couple of weeks ago.
And Pebble.
And Pebble. Yeah, and Pebble. But that's still like his bread and butter, right? That's still his shizzle, right? The guy has one of the longest golf drives out there. The ball's not going to roll very much, so he's going to have a humongous advantage, with how far his ball goes in the air. The guy's basically having a Scotty McIlroy. That would be a pretty good combo. Scotty Scheffler run. Yeah. Wow. A Scotty Scheffler type run in his last 15 events. I think he's top 5 in 12 of his, in half of his last 20. It's some ridiculous number. The guy's playing absolute insane good golf. And that the narrative going into the Masters, if he wins back-to-back events, is going to be insane. And then he's going to lose the Masters in heartbreaking fashion. I could already see this happening. I am lining up like I'm Golf Nostradamus when it comes to this. Rory's going to win this week. I think he's going to win. This is his type of course. He's just going to bomb it out there, do his thing. His short game is solid. His putting has been borderline elite, in the last, I'd say, 6 months, right? I think he's gained strokes putting in 11 of his last 12 events. I'm going to go ahead, take Rory 7-1 this week at win only as my first outright. And then everything else, it's going to be bombs. It's going to be Rory and some bombs. Next one's going to be Mac Hughes, 75-1, 8 places. Not going to be very high up in your stat map. But the thing about Mac is it seems like he favors more challenging courses. You see him on top of leaderboards more often than not on tough courses compared to easy courses. This, of course, is a tough course. You also don't really worry about form with Mac. The one thing that you can sort of predict with Mac is course history. He usually pops on courses he normally has popped on before. right? The guy's course history here is extremely solid, plays this well. I'm going to go ahead and take that 75-1 Mac Hughes this week with 8 places. Next, I'm going to go Nikolai Højgaard again. 80-1. I was on him last week. He really killed me. I'm going to go back to him again because the numbers are just too good to ignore when you look at the stats that he got and the stuff, and especially looking for stats on this course, right? He's number 4 in my model. Again, long iron game, the best in the field. The best in the field from 175 plus. One of the best on par threes. They got 5 of those this week, right? Avoids bogeys except for last week on his last 5 on the back 9. He was good until the back 9 on Friday, and then he just shit the bed.
What the hell?
Him and Rico Hui. Both, I thought I was in the clear going into the back, and both of those guys, I don't know what happened on the back, but it's okay. I'll forgive Højgaard. I'm going to go back to him this week, 80-1 for him also. Next, this is, again, field play, gut play. I saw a little bit of Victor Perez on some during the featured groups and stuff like that, and I like the way he was striking the ball. Stats don't look great. Definitely a field play. The last couple of times he has looked good with his 22nd last week, 18th at the Cognizant, which is just, a couple of courses that can, you could correlate with this week. Good at avoiding bogeys, doesn't have too many 3 putts. Definitely a gut play for me at 90-1 with 8 places each way. Next, it's going to be Ricky Castillo at 90-1. He is also going to be a play later on. My hustler play of the week. So I'm going to go ahead and skip him. I'll save him and why I like him for my hustler play of the week. Next, it's going to be Isaiah Salinda, 110-1. Made 5 straight cuts, most in his career. It's been a short sample size. He hasn't played that long, hasn't played in too many tournaments, but 5 straight cuts. He had a 3rd in Mexico, another long iron heavy course. His biggest strengths are length and short game, right? That's what we're looking for this week. A guy who could pound it out there and has gentle touch around the greens. Give me a little Salinda at 110-1 with 8 places. And I'm going with your boy, your South African brethren, Aldrich Potgieter at 170-1 with 8 places. Any driver heavy course like this, I don't care about his form. I'm just going to roster Potgieter at triple-digit odds every single time.
Yeah.
So the whole
what is he
card,
at, Kenny, for you?
170.
Yeah.
With 8 places. So my whole card, it's going to be Rory 7-1 win only. The rest are with 8 places each way. Mac Hughes 75-1. Højgaard 80-1. Victor Perez 90-1. Ricky Castillo 90-1. Salinda 110-1. Potgieter 170-1.
Love it. So we got a lot of overlap here. I will go back with Potgieter over here at 200-1, 5 places each way. Mexico Open comps, yes, he can't chip for shit, but when you are just nuking driver down there, he was gaining like 0.9 strokes off the tee both rounds at the Valspar. So regardless of where you kind of put him, you're still going to just give great, like he's starting on first base with a running start off the tee with him. So he can putt well as well, which can nullify a lot of those chips if things happen. And if it's nice and soft, going to be hitting a lot more greens too. So we've chatted about him already, like him a lot, 200-1. 250-1, 5 places, 500-1, 3 places at Bet365. Alejandro Tosti, 2nd here last year, 10th in Mexico this year. We've seen this guy show up multiple times on leaderboards over the last little while. Massive numbers, huge numbers, and a great course fit. It makes sense why he played well here last year. He's very long off the tee. So big fan of that at 250-1 and 500-1. There's 300s out there. There's 350s to 1. I've just sprinkled every time I saw a number increase, from DraftKings on Sunday. Alejandro Tosti.
Oh, yeah. I do like him this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And crazy numbers. Like I am now on Rory McIlroy, Kenny, apologies. I'm riding with you. I wanted to just chat through it a bit because a lot of the reason why people were on Victor Hovland last week wasn't because he's playing good golf. It's because he was 80-1. You know, like if you just gamble, like sometimes you can try and be a golf connoisseur and pretend like you know who's going to win the tournament. Fuck that sometimes. You know, like the edge in golf betting is assembling a card that has an immense amount of EV on it. You know, like if you're betting guys that are at the wrong number over a good period of time, you will profit. And I think that's what we saw with Hovland at 80-1. Now, Rory's at 7. If you priced Rory at 5-1, 4.5-1 this week, would anyone bat an eye? I wouldn't say so, right? Like people are contemplating like Rory and Scotty could quite easily have been flipped around given how they're playing golf right now. So I love that number. You know, I think it's incorrect. I think it could easily be a lot shorter than it is. And 7-1, I mean, I just bet it while you were chatting earlier. So I'm officially in on Rory McIlroy.
I had 7.75-1 at one point in time, but but literally when I was about to bet it, the number changed. It sucked.
I was taking too long to pull the trigger on that, but it is what it is. You know, 7's still a very fair number, I think, for him. And I've also I bet the top 5 at plus 170. It's now down to 150 because of that number changing from 775 to 700. So I'm in on Rory McIlroy again. So he won the freaking Players, another top 10 that was with the top 5. So you got to go back all the way to the Open of 2023 for Rory McIlroy to have a PGA Tour event that he's finished top 10 that wasn't also a top 5. So if you're betting Rory, bet the top 5. If you've bet your betting card for outrights already, bet the top 5 as well. It's plus 150 out there. Ty's paid in full. He does it more than half the time. So like that is a very fair number on a great course fit in a golfer that's incredible form. So good out the rough is Rory. So especially at a golf course like this where he's going to find himself in it a lot. So I like him a lot this week, Kenny. So let's cash this thing together, dude. If Aldrich, also something I was thinking is if you want to be this is fantasy golf degenerates. If you've just bet Rory at 7-1, have a whole nother tournament on the side. There's without markets that are very favorable still, you know, like you can just go and throw pretend it's like a whole nother tournament. I'm contemplating doing it because I've been running like kind of steamy, you know, like just throw one unit out there on all these other guys that you kind of liked with the without market. It's always fun to potentially try to win 2 outrights.
I like the greed. I'm a big fan of the greed, right? You know, because think about it. You know, you're betting Rory already 7-1. Why not bet a no Rory, no Scotty market for the rest of your bets, right? Because if you think Rory's going to win, then you're just going to ride that in the regular market. And then in all your long shot bets, you're going to get worse numbers, and you could get dead heats, which is, you know, which could be a pain in the ass. Like if you finish like 4 guys finish second, that would really fucking suck, right? When it comes down,
but it's also better than him losing in a playoff and getting nothing.
Yeah,
you know,
So I like that. I like that. We got a couple of those betting strategies for this week. I really like Ellie's take on betting 2 guys. Betting your guy twice when you bet him live. I think that makes so much sense because I mean, I've had opportunities where like I could cash out a guy like puck item. I didn't look, but I'm sure at like one point in time, you could have cashed him out for a good amount. Maybe I don't know. I know there's been instances where like the cash out was like 70% of like my total win and the guy didn't win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know,
well, that would have been JT.
Yeah.
It was minus 800 at one point.
Yeah, actually, Ellie talked about that. He's like, I should have bet him twice when we were talking on Saturday. And I was like, I'm sure you'll be fine. Nope. No, he should have bet him twice because he probably could have cashed out at least and gotten his money back for both those bets or maybe even more.
Absolutely. The only problem with the cash outs is they milk you. Like you are not getting your fair value return there, but you're still getting your money back, which, you know, sometimes that's a tax you'll pay for an emotional victory there. So it's all cool, you know. Just thought I would put that out there as a little bit of a nerdy tidbit. Shall we get to some blood, sweat, and DFS tiers for the Open this week? Scotty,
that sounds good.
That's the decision you got to make. You obviously can't play both. What are we doing at the top of the board, Kenny?
I don't know. Rory and cash. Rory's my first cash game cornerstone. I think you got to play one of these 2 in cash. I think you just have to.
So just pay the guy that's $1,000 cheaper.
Yeah, I'm playing the guy that's
Yeah.
$1,000 cheaper. That's exactly what I'm doing. We already talked about Rory, not that crazy. I'm going to go ahead, Rory in cash. Now, could this be the week where, Rory is like 40% and Scheffler's 25%?
I think so.
I think then GPPs, I might have to be Scotty.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
I
if
mean,
you think about the game theory side of it, it makes total sense. Optimizers with a 6K range being the bottom, not the 5K, 12.7 is
up there.
rough, dude. Like if you're clicking 12.7, you've got $7,460 there for your next
You can get
5
sub
guys.
20%?
Possibly, man. He's not playing great golf. Rory is playing fantastic. He's $1,000 cheaper.
Yeah, I would
Now,
expect
that's a
Rory to
combo
be
for
the highest owned on the board.
yeah. Optimizers are
I
gonna
got
love that shit.
Yeah. So what about you? Where are you going?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's all ownership dependent up top, but I think just going with Rory, Jesus. But every time I've gone with the chalk lately, it's just completely blown up in my face. Xander on round 3 was prime for a breakout. Freaking didn't. What happens on Sunday? He does what we expected him to do on Saturday. It is what it is. So if you're going to do something, stick with it. I might just lock in Rory, kind of just go with that. Just playing. To me, he's a little safe. Like, I don't know. Scotty is just all over the place right now. And it's expensive.
Yeah, but it's
so
Scotty.
expensive.
Would it shock you if he came out and won? No.
No, it wouldn't.
No.
But it would also shock me if he won and I didn't really have a great lineup because I don't know what to do with the other $7,500 on average. So
Yeah.
this might be a perfect time to, kind of chase. I like your strategy of just doing the single entry, Kenny.
Here's the thing: the 9 and 8K range. It's not like it's like burgeoning with superstars. You know what I'm saying? Like, how much of a difference is Jacob Bridgman from Joel Highsmith?
Yeah.
Like, how big of a? I mean, they're like $1,100 in price.
Yeah,
but
there's just
from
savings
their actual,
right away.
but from their actual game, like, is there really that big of a difference from the 8K to the 7K range? Now, what it will probably do is probably eliminate the 9K range completely from you if you have Scotty, and you don't want to roster 3 6K guys, right? So from a game theory perspective, I don't mind Scotty and 4 7K guys and a 6K guy, because those 7K guys, I think a lot of them are equal or might even be better than what you see. I mean, Keith Mitchell's $8,000 for God's sakes, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, Mav has not been playing very, very good golf. All right.
Ben Griffin, 7,900.
Yeah. Jaeger, I worry about a guy coming back to an event where he got his first win and only win. Right. Okay. Because when you come the next year, you have so many more responsibilities as a defending champion, where you have to do certain events, certain showings, stuff like that for the sponsors, all that stuff. You have a lot more on your plate when you're a defending champion. And since this is the only win still to date in his career, this is the first time he's going to be having to deal with that. So slightly worried about that. I don't know if I'm going to fade him because of that, because everything else seems like it works out. But, stuff you're thinking about when you're making your lineups, right? And so I don't see a problem with going Scotty and going 7K guys. I mean, you go Scotty, Mac Hughes, Joel Highsmith, Sam Ryder, Højgaard. I mean, you can make a Castillo, Perez. I mean, all those guys are down there. And I don't think there's that much difference between the guys that I just spouted out and the guys in the 8K range. And even when you get to the 9K range, I mean, it's Wyndham Clark, who could be injured. You know what I'm saying? It's Tony Finau, who could be injured, right? I mean, hearing rumors. I know on Andy Lack's pod this past week on Inside Sports Network, he was talking that he might have some information that Tony's fighting an injured. And also Wyndham, withdrew. And didn't play in the TGL event. So, I mean, are you really going to play those guys? Somebody's been playing like ass. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
from a name value point of view, yeah, these guys sound a hell of a lot better. But are they really playing better than Joel Highsmith?
No, probably because Minwoo Lee's last top 10 was the Rocket Mortgage.
I actually do. Let's move to the 9K range. I sort of do like minimum. I sort of do like
for a top 30, Kenny. Like, where's the upside?
For DFS? for DFS because, a win's going to have to happen at some point in time, right? And this seems like a course where he doesn't have to play against like the greatest of greats. He just has Scotty and
Just
Rory
the two
up
best
there.
guys in the world.
Yeah, I know, but it's golf, right? So
Yeah, it is golf.
But the thing about it is like he's long off the tee. His short game is very, very underrated. It's not my favorite play.
It's overrated,
in this
Kenny.
race.
His short game is overrated. He's
I don't
Dr.
know.
Chapinski. He's like neutral when it comes to short game, like around the greens. It's crazy. Like
I have him 7th in the field in the last 24 rounds.
well, last 24, but if you go like a decent sample size, he's on average.
I'm going
not very
last
good.
24 rounds. And the thing is, he doesn't make too many bogeys, right? He's long off the tee. I like him this week in DFS. I think a top 10 is just fine for him at that price, especially if you're going Rory in him or something like that, going high up on it. Now, he's definitely not my favorite play up here. The chalk is going to be Aaron Rai. Are you eating the Aaron Rai chalk?
No. Not Aaron
Aaron
Rai.
Rai makes a lot of sense.
It does.
It makes a lot of sense.
Just bet Aaron Rai top 20.
I
Betting top 20
understand
quarter of the
why
day.
he's chalk. A couple of top 7s here, accurate off the tee. It's one of the best with his long irons. I just can't get on board at 20+% ownership. I can't do it.
Golf.
I can't do it.
Again,
I can't do it.
No.
Like I want to take a risk on Wyndham Clark. Like if he plays this week and he doesn't withdraw, I mean, a bomber with a good short game, right? Who can putt when he needs to, has spike putting weeks. I mean, that's Wyndham here. I could see very low ownership for Wyndham Clark this week. Single digits, 10%, and I think he makes a ton of sense on this course.
Yes. Obviously, you know what you're getting into. Don't be mad if he does WD on you or plays like shit. It's the risk you're taking in a GPP, So maybe if you are going to take those kind of risks, you can just go with Rory up top. Aaron Rai, I'm out. Minwoo, I'm out. Davis Thompson, I don't mind. I think he's starting to trend nicely. The ball striking is looking good there. Showed up at Torrey for a little bit at the Genesis Invitational, a nice comp course, long, difficult golf course. Kind of like the John Deere Classic, just kidding. But Davis Thompson doing good things. I like him a lot. Jason Day, 9K flat. This dude, he's got what it takes. He played real nice at API, difficult long golf course as well. I think we can see some good things. And Jason Day playing in a tournament like this, it's nice. It means he's in business. So I like those two guys mainly in the 9K range. Again, JJ Spahn, if he's not super owned, is an option. But again, gee whiz, man, if you are playing Scotty Scheffler, to click a $9,900 JJ Spahn, you got 6,000 less than 7K for your next 4 guys. So, it's difficult. So I always want to touch on, Kenny, do you think Scotty's going to be more owned in like multi-entry contests, or I think he'll be less owned in single entries, right? Because people won't want to click those nasty clicks.
Rory.
Yeah,
and everyone's probably going to go Rory. That's why I think I might play Scotty in my $100 single entry.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
it'll be very contrarian. You just got to find your nuts at the bottom, and if that can get you through there, off we go. So I do not mind that. Scooting into the 8s, Siwoo Kim, Stephen Yeager, Michael Kim. We got the 2 Kims. Michael Kim mentioning his back and neck, pussy and his crack, all of that stuff, struggling after a non-stop barrage gauntlet of starts. I think, he's just playing non-stop. He's not in the Masters yet. Says he needs a top 20 to get in. So he's gunning for it.
Narrative. Yeah.
Narrative. And he's also injured online. He's one of the most disclosing people that we know in golf. So interesting stuff from him. We'll see what he does. He's playing great, but maybe he's burnt out a little bit, So I don't know. Like him, but we'll see. And then who you like in Kenny top of the 8s? I mean, I guess everywhere in the 8s, just small range.
I mean, Siwoo's my second cash game cornerstone. He's just been so consistent. He doesn't really have the length here, but he has a really good short game. If you look, his iron play has been really above average, top 6 and tee to green in the last 24 rounds. I like Siwoo. He is my second cash game cornerstone. For the week, we already talked about Yeager, possibly a fade. For me, I always worry about first-time winners who haven't won coming back to the place where they've won that event. I just worry about that sometimes. It just could be a me thing, could not even be a thing, but it's just for me that it bothers me sometimes. There's definitely some guys. Alex Smalley looks like he should be a popular play. Tee to Green, he's been strokes gained total. I think he's like fourth on tour this season, right? This season, Alex Smalley is extremely solid. He might gain some popularity, and if he does, you might want to take a look at Max Grazerman, just a little bit below him. Again, long irons. I think he can putt his ass off. He's made some cuts here in the past, so I do like Grazerman. Hendrith is interesting. I don't think people are going to really use him that much. Again, long irons are very, very strong, and he has some big old distance. He has some pop. So there's some guys in the 8K range that I like probably more than the entire 9K range, probably more than the entire 9K range. There's guys here.
Yeah. Well, I think that's going to be the common trend, Kenny. Click a big name in the 10s, Rory or Scotty, immediately.
So do you think the ultra contrarian, being unique, would just go and start at the 9s probably and go like 2 or 3 there?
Give yourself the same remaining salary almost of what you would have if you put Scotty in your lineup, but you're getting 3 super good dudes, essentially, given the price, for the price of 1. For the remaining 3 guys, you'll have the same remaining average salary. Jesus, a lot of random shit going on there, but you get what I'm saying. So I think that is a way to go for sure, because those Scotty and Rory will be very, very high owned, obviously. So you got some definite angles in that department. And the thing with Scotty and Rory, mainly Rory, is he going to treat this more as a tune-up? That's what I really wanted to know. And I hope he just is here to win this goddamn thing. So let's see what he can do. I do like him. Max Grazerman, $8,100. Get me back. He's off the power. Now he's putting on solid greens. He's been doing a lot better again. I think the power side of things was power triv. It's not like California power though, right? It's different. So
it's like putting on bent. It's similar to putting on bent.
Yeah. So it's not power. It's power triv. Like him. And then if you're looking for, Sahith Theegala is always just a GPP play. I mean, this dude makes quads and shoots level par on a 9.
Does he have a top 25 this year? I don't think he does.
Oh man, it's a good question, but he's always going to provide you with crazy scoring.
Like we said earlier, it seems like the shit's getting in his head. He's getting super frustrated.
Yeah, he's very frustrated.
Because I don't really expect Theegala to be the one who's throwing clubs like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's got to be getting to him, and that worries me.
But he's chipping and putting well. It's the irons that are really letting him down. So I don't know. We'll take just sprinkle him in. He's going to be super low owned. He's like the Mathieu Pavon of the 8K range, in my opinion. So just play those guys all the time. They're going to let you down. Don't hinge your lineup around them. Taylor Moore, I like Ben Griffin a lot at $7,900, Kenny. I think we're going to see some magic from him. Very tidy short game. Been playing well. Did he play the Valspar? I don't believe so.
Taylor Moore?
Ben Griffin.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
He did play, but he missed the cut. So it's back-to-back missed cuts. So maybe he can chill out a little bit. Ball struck the shit out of it, chipped and putted his way out of it. So that's cool. I like that kind of recipe coming in. Kevin Yu. Talk about someone with some good form coming into the week and just nuke cities off the tee. So Kevin Yu, absolutely. Jake Knapp, same situation. How popular is Davis Riley going to be, Kenny, at $7,600?
I expect he'll be popular. I don't know. I don't know about this one. We'll see. I know a lot of people are betting him. I'll have to look at the ownership for him.
Yeah. That's what I was asking you. How popular do you think he's going to be?
Yeah, I have no idea.
I think he's going to be very popular. I think he's starting to catch some form and people will be going after him. Seamus Power is someone that's very interesting. We played quite nicely last week. Good to see him playing good golf again. Nico Echeverria, $7,400. Also starting to find some form again after 2-time win on the PGA Tour, and his odds going into the weekend or Sunday were some of the worst given the guys around him in the same position. So you're always getting a good discount on him. Didn't quite play the greatest, but he can pop any given moment. And then Andrew Novak, $7,300. Just an auto play for me every single week. He's going to break your heart some weeks. He's going to show up like he did last week. and then shit the bed on Sunday. So there's a lot to like down here in the sevens, Kenny. So Nicholas Mola, $7,200, nukes off the tee, nuke city. So give me all of him, and then Rico Hoey at $7,100 for sure.
Yeah, 7,500. Mac Hughes is my third cash game cornerstone. We talked about him already in the betting segment. My final cash game cornerstone is going to be Sam Ryder. Doesn't really fit too much of the mold. Long irons are very good. Short game, not the best. He's not very long off the tee, but the form is just there. He's playing excellent golf. He's playing difficult courses. He's playing longer courses as well. Give me Sam Ryder, third in bogey avoidance in the last 24 rounds. Plays the par fours extremely well. Again, long irons has been a strength of his here recently. So my cash game cornerstones for the week. It's going to be Rory McIlroy at 11,700, Siwoo Kim at 8,900, Mac Hughes at 7,500, and Sam Ryder at 7,300. It leaves you, like 14-7, 14-8, somewhere around there to finish off the rest of your lineups. Again, I like Joe Highsmith down there. It's at $7,800 iron game, exceptionally strong, could putt his ass off, really good on par threes, has been playing exceptionally good golf here recently. I like Seamus Power, just like you, really good showing on Sunday. Again, long irons are above average. Short game, really solid. Par three are a strength for him. Sam Stevens, driver heavy course. You just go ahead and click him. Any course where you're hitting driver more than 50% of the time off the tee, you just go ahead and click Sam Stevens, who had a pretty good showing a few events ago on another driver heavy course. Hisatune, again, similar to last week, top 10. The guy has a lot of skill. DP Tour player, rookie of the year last year. Above average short game, good on par threes, above average putter. Give me some of him. I like Ricky Castillo. Where's Castillo at? Castillo's at like 7,200. I talked about him on the betting segment. One thing I did forget to mention about Castillo was the last time he played was he had positive strokes gained in everything except for off the tee. It's the first time that's ever happened for him in his career. And the funny thing is, his strength is off the tee. Again, but it was Valspar. It was a less than driver course. We're getting here where it's a driver heavy course. If he can get all those other things to come together like it did last week, I mean, he could surprise. So I really, really do like Castillo a lot. And that's actually my hustler play of the week. Mike, I fucked it up. Let's go ahead. Hopefully, when you go back and edit this, play the music when I start talking about Ricky Castillo, because he is my hustler play of the week. Again, I don't expect him to be very, very high owned. I'm thinking 5 to 8%. But I really do like him. The two of his best finishes of his career were at Valspar and Torrey, both tough, long courses with weak fields, right? We already talked about him gaining strokes with all of his major strokes gain category, except off the tee last week at Valspar, which is a less than driver course. He is really, really handy with the driver. He has also gained strokes around the green in back-to-back events for the first time in his career. So like this week, I really do think that he can use his length to his advantage, and hopefully everything else falls in line. So hustler play of the week is Ricky Castillo. Okay. Other guys down here, I mean, there's plenty of plays. Like you said, Rico Hoey, Castillo, Celinda, we already talked about him. Jeremy Paul had a really good showing last week. Carl Phillips, he's won an event here recently, right? So you got all those guys. I think you could do it, a Scotty lineup. I really do. But you're going to need some help in the 6K range.
Yeah.
Byron, why don't you go ahead and start? Because I don't have many. I need to start looking a little bit more.
All right. So I had a guy that I wanted to find, but he's a Japanese dude, and I'm looking for his name. He made the cut though? Oh, it is Kato Onishi. He's $6,000 flat. I played him last week because I have a filter in my model where I have hell conditions, which is more difficult than hard, and he was top 10 in the Valspar field for strokes gained in his short game is insane. He's just like chipping and putting his way through.
What was his name?
Kato Onishi, $6,000 flat. So love his, like, he's going to give you some seriously solid options if you just click his name at 6K flat. I think he's someone you can definitely take a peek at. Coming from the bottom up, I don't mind Tim Whiting. He was doing some good stuff at the Valspar for a little bit, showed some good, sign. These are $6,200 golfers, so you're going to be
He's a masher, right? Whiting?
Yeah.
Isn't he a masher?
Mashed potatoes, for sure. Kyle Westmoreland also, mashed potatoes, $6,200. If you're looking for some more guys up at the top here, I like let's take a look. Chris Ventura, $6,600. Absolutely on my radar. Emiliano Grillo, not a masher, but a very good long and mid-iron player. And his putter gained for the first time last week. Sometimes when his putter starts working, it works for a long time. And then when it stops,
that's true.
It just breaks. So maybe he's found something there. I'll take a gamble on him. If we can match that up nicely. We're starting to get into that like Texas swing where he won the Charles Schwab. Might find himself feeling a little better in that department. Like him a lot. Other options, Hayden Springer, someone that's also mashed potatoes, good short game, $6,900. Toasty, $6,700. Potgieter, $66, I believe. So you're just looking for all of these guys that are going to give you these kind of high upside skill sets with major flaws in other areas of the game. But that is why in a field like this, they're $6,000. So, there's some options down here.
Yeah, I really wanted to play EVR again, and of course he withdrew. He was going to be my favorite play in the 6K range, but it looks like he's really hurt if he's withdrawing back-to-back weeks. Hayden Springer is somebody that came up to mind. Again, like you said, length, short game. He's actually pretty good at top 40 in avoiding bogeys, top 30 in three-putt avoidance here in the last 24 rounds. Pot guider, we already spoke about. Toasty, he makes a lot of sense. I like Trey Mullinax. I'm a Trey Mullinax dude. Again, he doesn't make too many bogeys. He doesn't make too many three putts. He's long off the tee. His long iron game is okay. It's someone that's going to garner maybe 3% ownership, 2% ownership. That week, Chris Gotterup is another guy who's super lengthy off the tee. We've seen him win on tour already, right? Didn't he win an alt event, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah,
I think so.
The ISCO, was it?
Something like that. So, so the guy is a winner. I like him. Lanto Griffin, again, long iron type of course. I play him. Yeah, that's about it for me. I mean, I'm mostly on the same guys that you're on. I do like your Whiting call a lot down there at 6,200. That makes a lot of sense. And the Westmoreland call. Those seem like plays where, you're going to have to take some risks down here when it comes to rostering Scotty. So I think a couple of those guys might be a good play. And if you fuck with Onishi, I doubt he's gonna be less than 1% owned. He can win you a GPP. So maybe that's gonna be a play for the guys who have the balls enough to play.
Yeah, and I say that he's a short game guru, Onishi. He also gained ball striking at the Valspar. So hey, nice little trend coming in there. Let's get into some one and dones, Kendo. Where are we going here? Not the biggest prize purse, not the best field. So kind of pick your flavor. Go with that this week. I haven't made a decision yet. I'm probably going to make one after you tell me who your guys are.
It might be Davis Thompson. It might be Alex Smalley. I'm not trying to use like a big name here. So maybe Davis Thompson, Alex Smalley, Mac Hughes. They all seem to be people that I can get on board with. If I really want to take a chance, you can go ahead and use Castillo. We'll see. These are the weeks where you can go sort of crazy, right? Because the field is so weak. You don't want to use a scrub. And if you hit one of these, lower tier players and they hit, it's going to give you a pretty big advantage when it comes to a one and done.
Yeah, because no one's going to have them. I'm kind of between Maverick McNeely and Max Griesemann as my two guys, lower 8K options.
I
got high upside stuff. McNeely is someone that's been struggling to he'll just blow up randomly, which is fine. I don't really care if you're finishing 40th in a one and done. I need you to finish top of the board, and he has shown he can do that. So I'm actually just going to lock in McNeely. I like what he's got. The distance, long irons, played nicely at Torrey. Maybe his form can bounce back this week. So that's going to be it from us here on the Fantasy Golf Degenerates show. As always, shout out to Mike, our producer, for hanging around on his wife's birthday. We really appreciate her more than we do you, Mike, for letting you be with us. So we thank you for that. As always, use code FGD15 for Kickback Golf merch. We are in the mood to get some more stories from the South. We haven't heard them for a long time because you guys are not buying enough Kickback Golf merchandise. As always, you can use code...
because I'm not getting fucked up enough. The only way those stories come out is if I'm like blasted beyond imagination, because that's when my imagination kicks the hardest. And I don't really, so maybe I have to just, take one for the team and get really fucked up one day.
Just do it, Kenny.
Yeah.
We need it.
Start making these stories. Yeah.
Maybe the 420 show.
The
421 show. It comes on April 21st, but maybe we do that then.
Okay. We'll have a good one. It's going to be fun. Check out my Patreon, link in the description below. You'll get 50% off the first month if you use code VALSPA. Haven't updated it yet for Houston Open. Just use VALSPA again. It's good. Love you guys. Kenny, get us out of here.
Yeah, follow me on X at KendoVT. If I ever change my cash game cornerstones, like last week might have been like the third time ever I've changed the cash game cornerstones after the show, and I've probably done over 300 cash game cornerstones. So it doesn't happen that often, but I saw a weather wave and didn't really turn out that way. But I had to make that change. So, make sure you check my X feed at KendoVT. You'll also get my live bets there. You'll get any underdog plays or any other type of plays that I do. So make sure you go check that out. All right. Should be a fun week. Only 2 weeks until the Masters. We can't wait. We're getting down to the good part of the season. Should be fun. Let's win some motherfucking money. DJ Nation.